Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're tackling something huge. I mean, truly massive. We're talking about the single largest democratic event on the entire planet, the Indian general election.
So how on earth is something this big even possible? I mean, we're talking about a process that lets almost 1 billion people vote. To get it, we really need to dig into the details. It's a genuine marvel of organization.
So yeah, how do they pull it off? Well, that's what we're here to do. We're going to break it all down for you, and we'll frame it like the ultimate game. You know, looking at the rules, the players, the game plan, right up to that final whistle.
All right, first things first. Every big game needs a referee, right? An impartial ump to make sure everything's fair. Well, in India, that job is handled by a seriously powerful and independent group. And that group is the Election Commission of India. You'll hear it called the ECI. Now, what's really key here is that it was created by the Indian Constitution itself. That gives it some serious teeth, a ton of power and independence to run the show for everything, from the huge national elections all the way down to the state ones.
You know, the ECI has really had to evolve over the years. It was founded way back in 1950, but its biggest test, that came in 1989. The voting age was dropped from 21 to 18, and just like that, boom, millions of new voters were on the scene. It was a huge expansion. So to handle it, the commission itself had to change. A year later, in 1990, it went from just one person in charge to 3.
So you might be wondering, what keeps them independent? How do you protect them from political meddling? Well, it really comes down to their job security. Commissioners get a fixed 6-year term, or they serve until they hit 65. That long, secure term is specifically designed to shield them from political pressure, so they can just focus on being neutral umpires.
All right, so we've got our referee. Now let's talk about the teams and the actual players on the field.
Okay, so the field of play is the whole country, but it's split up into smaller geographical areas. These are called constituencies. You can really think of them like individual stadiums or arenas where the games happen. Each one is its own separate contest, and each one sends just one winner to Parliament.
But, of course, the most important player in this whole thing, it's the voter. And their ticket to the game, their key to get in, is this right here, the elector's photo identity card, or EPIC for short. This is the official ID they have to show to cast their vote.
So, let's put it all together. You've got millions and millions of voters, right? And they're choosing from thousands of different candidates. Now, these candidates usually have a team behind them, a political party. Some of these are huge national parties that you'll see everywhere, but then you also have these really powerful regional parties that are major players in their specific states.
So, with all these moving parts, how does it all actually work? You might think it's just chaos, but it's not. The whole thing follows a really clear, step-by-step game plan.
Okay, so the second those election dates are announced, it's like a whistle blows and the game is officially on. And this rulebook, the Model Code of Conduct, immediately kicks in. It covers everything. Seriously. It's there to stop things like hate speech, and it even prevents the party in power from, say, suddenly announcing a bunch of new projects just to win votes. It's all about creating a level playing field.
And the process itself follows a really logical order. First, you have the official notification. That's the announcement that gets the ball rolling. Then, candidates have to file their nomination papers to officially enter the race. After that, the ECI puts everything under scrutiny, just to check that all the candidates are actually eligible. Once they get the green light, the campaign period starts in earnest. And all of that leads up to the main event, polling day.
And on that big day, polling day, it really boils down to just 2 essential pieces of kit: the voter's ID card to prove who they are, and the electronic voting machine, or EVM, where they actually cast their vote. This right here, this is the moment. It's where the individual citizen connects directly with the whole democratic machine.
Now, some people were a bit skeptical about purely electronic voting. So to build trust, they introduced this system, the VVPAT. It's actually a pretty clever idea. After you press the button to vote, it prints out a little slip of paper that shows who you voted for. You get to see it for a few seconds, just to confirm, and then that slip drops into a sealed box. It creates a paper trail, so you can always go back and double-check the electronic results.
But what if you get to the voting booth, look at the list of candidates and think, I don't want to vote for any of these people? Well, there's an option for that. It's called NOTA, which stands for none of the above. It's a really powerful choice because it lets you officially cast a vote of rejection. You're participating, but you're also sending a clear message that you're not happy with the options you've been given. Okay, so the polls are closed. Millions upon millions of people have voted. Now comes the part everyone's been waiting for. Counting up all those votes and figuring out who actually won and who gets to form the next government.
So as soon as the voting is over, every single one of those EVMs is sealed up tight and taken to a super secure counting center. And you know, thanks to these machines, the whole process is way, way faster than it used to be. I mean, can you imagine counting hundreds of millions of paper ballots by hand? These machines make it so much more efficient.
But in a system with so many different parties, like India has, something interesting often happens. What if, after all the votes are counted, no single party gets a clear majority? You know, not enough seats to govern by themselves. Well, that's a situation called a hung parliament.
So what's the solution? A coalition government. And this is where the real political chess game begins. You'll see multiple parties, sometimes parties that were just fighting each other a week before, having to team up, cooperate, and join forces to scrape together enough seats to form a government.
And these kinds of team-ups can happen in a couple of ways. You've got your pre-poll alliances where parties agree to work together before the election even starts. They campaign as a united front. Then you have the post-poll alliances, which are often way more dramatic. This is when parties scrabble to make deals after the results are out, bargaining and negotiating to build a winning coalition.
So, when you step back and look at it, it's just breathtaking, isn't it? An army of officials, all this complex technology, and almost 1 billion potential voters. It's a system of almost unbelievable complexity. And that kind of leaves us with one final big question to think about. With a process this massive, what do you think is the single most important thing? The one element that's absolutely vital